losers. Locations Lighting London are our old friends. Every shoot we do, we collaborate with these guys. They are our gaffers. They provide all the lighting, all the essential stuff for your shot to look sexy. Today, I asked them to paint the studio in blue. Let's check it out. Yay! Proper blue. As you remember from my last video, Bluescreen is actually harder to light than green screen, and luckily we're working with Bluescreen today. In order to get a good key, you need an evenly lit surface. That way you're eliminating any tonal variation of the screen and it will be much easier to key it out. Without evenly lit surface, you will get really hard times. We use blue today because our final target scene is dark, and blue is better for dark. How to determine if your screen is evenly lit? Don't trust your eyes. Trust technology. I prefer to use false color feature in my camera. As you can see, despite the backdrop is looking relatively even, in fact it's not. So I explained the whole project's concept to Chris and asked him to put blue gels on all the backlights, put blue gels on side lights, and put a big soft source right in the center of the set. These things takes the most time, so I wanted to build something universal. We had quite a few shots to do in a couple of days. Interesting fact is that in this place, this is actually 25 years of paint layers. 25 years, someone was constantly painting this over with different colors, green, white, black, whatever the client needs. Crazy. One of the problems that may occur in such a setup is hotspots. Unless it's intentional, you can actually remove it by putting some clean film over your floor. It will produce some reflections, but it will also help you to even out your exposure. Just a nice tip. Is it a nice tip?
It's a very nice tip. It works a treat.
Any props, anything your actors need to interact with has to be painted in the same color. That's obvious. Couple of ground rules about green or blue screen. You don't want the screen to be wavy. It has to be a flat surface. If you have a backdrop like paper roll, just clamp it at the bottom so that the surface is even. Sometimes we get footage sent with a cloth backdrop and there are massive creases on it, and if the light is wrong as well, then it's a nightmare for keying. Look at this right here. This is ideally flat surface. That's what you should be aiming for with any background you use, whether it's cloth or paper, doesn't matter. In terms of lighting, all you need is a couple of lights for your background and then something to light your subject. Try to separate your subject from your background. As for the background light, ideally it has to be soft source, because Fresnels or any other unsoftened sources, they will create hotspots which you don't want. You don't obviously need the studio like that to make the blue screen or green screen kind of workable. To prove the point, here's my setup in the garage. I have two cheap LED panels hitting the paper blue screen. Then I have a separate hair light, and here I'll have my key light. You probably can't tell from this footage, but the blue screen is quite far away. So whatever will be in here, it will be very well separated from the background. This garage is quite cold and humid, therefore my paper background got a bit spoiled. It's not perfectly even. Even this far from ideal setup allows you to get a decent key. If you're using paint like we do here, try to keep the floor safe. Because, have a look, these stains are nothing critical, but they may become a pain in post. In general, the rule is, if there's something you can see, it means you can key it out. But following some rules just makes the whole process faster and more efficient. This is what you want. I also want to say big thanks to Denmark Studios and Locations Lighting London. I actually have quite a few videos from behind the scenes and stuff with these guys. This time I asked Chris, one of the co-owners, a couple of my questions. This is Chris.
Hello.
The studio is called Denmark Studios.
That's right, yeah.
Can you tell the story behind the name?
Nothing too exciting really, but it all came about when we were building the studio. My granddad, Dennis, was dying, and my youngest brother had just been born. His name was Mark, so we kind of decided to name it after the older generation and the new. So it was Dennis and Mark became Denmark.
Denmark.
That's unfortunately, cool. When it was being built, my granddad, he passed away, so he didn't get to see the finished product. But his memory lives on, here. And
how old is the place?
The studio, I think, is about 25 years old, something like that.
25 years.
Yeah. So it's been here a while.
That's actually the bit about that background that I told you earlier. Chris told me that it's 25 years of paint layers in here. It's crazy.
The studio is a lot bigger.
How thick is it?
It's got to be about 3 inches or so, something like that.
Bloody hell.
It's quite a lot of paint, yeah.
Crazy. All right, so we're lighting the Bluescreen today. Do you have any tips or tricks that you use? Because you obviously do it quite often, lighting the backgrounds.
Yeah, when we're trying to light the background to get a good key, we always make sure to get a nice even light across there. So we typically use some Iris One cyc lights to light the back wall, and then space lights for the floor. And then what we normally do is check using the histogram to make sure that we've got a nice even light on that background.
Or false color, like I do.
Yeah.
Do you use all the stuff that is in here? Because I filmed a lot of lights and cables and wires.
Yeah, it all works and goes out. It's a bit like an Aladdin's cave. It's every square inch of space is used to store something or other. But it all works and goes out at various different times. Some things more often than others. Stuff that's kind of hidden up in the ceiling.
Yeah.
The things that don't go out as much. Obviously, being a bit less accessible, but. Yeah, it all goes out and earns money. It's
actually crazy. I haven't filmed the whole kind of premises of this place, but they have like garages, storages. There's so much stuff. The guys are not only working in here. They have another location called Studio
434.
434. It's a purely car shooting studio.
It's specialised in doing cars. Yeah, it's got big driving access, so we can get really big vehicles in there, like buses and huge vehicles. Yeah, it's really big.
Bloody hell!
And that's all white screen in there.
Okay.
And it's got the rig can lower down on truss motors, so we can easily rig lights quickly onto it and then raise it up. And quite often we'll put a big silk underneath all of the space lights. So we have like what we've got here with the softbox that we did. Yeah. But on a much, much bigger scale. We're talking like 30, 40 space lights under the softbox.
That's nice. The guys are renting out the gear, the lights, everything to help the production light their visions, not only here, but across the UK. Yeah,
that's right, yeah.
Only UK.
And internationally as well.
Internationally too.
Yeah. So we don't get so much international stuff, but we shipped out some underwater lighting to Eastern Europe earlier this month.
I think Mark told me about it. Yeah, underwater. Every shoot we do, we work exclusively with Locations Lighting London. And I'm really grateful to know these guys. And
likewise.
Thanks, Chris, for helping me.
You're very welcome.
With the
anytime.
Blue Monster.
It's good fun.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if this video will be super educational, but I thought I would give my tips that I'm using here. Those are not tips, really. Those are general rules. Everybody doing it. Recently, I had bad luck to receive several really, really, really bad green screen footages. So I thought I may as well talk about this green blue screen stuff a bit more. Day 1 finished. I hope, guys, the tips were useful. In the next tutorial I will teach you how to go around keying, what tools you would use and the concepts you need to know during the key. Just nice thoughts slipped out of my mind. It's gone. Old grandpa going down his...
Oh, dear. Struggling there. And again. Give us a wave.